I thought I'd come and get some air again. Courageous, I know. It's cold out here. It's bright, which is good for your health. But yeah, it's cold, and when I got up this morning at about 7:30, I think it was probably freezing. So I kept all the shutters closed. We're closing them again tonight. Keep the heat in. Mark re-established the fire when he eventually got up, so that's good. Got the fire going. So yesterday we went up for my 11:30 appointment with my doctor. We left here at just after 11:15 because there's a road closure and we weren't really sure how close we'd get to the surgery. But we got there early, but I needed the loo, so we were there by I think we were in the waiting room by 11:15. Well, he always runs late. That's not unusual, so we knew that we were in for a bit of a wait. And just as we got to the point where I think there was a woman ahead of us, because there are two doctors yesterday working out of that surgery. So there was a woman ahead of us. The secretary came in and said he's gone out on an emergency. So it was like, oh God, I'd waited, quite a long time for this appointment, and I really didn't want to not have it. And we'd booked a table on the way out. I'd called the Pattison to book a table, saying we'll be late. We don't expect to be with you before, until between 12:30 and 1. And as we waited and waited and waited, because then I stood and asked the secretary, well, we need to try and make another appointment, and she just looked at her computer screen and she said, I can't see one. I haven't, she was looking for something reasonably close to where we were. Obviously she has appointments further down the line, but she said, I just can't see an appointment for you. And then he came in because he hadn't actually gone out at that point, and he said, I won't be long. So I thought, well, I'll wait. But there's no service, there's no, I can't think of the English word. There's no mobile signal is in France it's réseau. I don't have a réseau when I'm up there. Even in the car park there's no réseau for my phone provider, so I couldn't ring Le Pattison and say we're not going to make it. So eventually it was 12:15, and no, it was 12:30, I think. It was 12:30, and I said to the secretary, I've got a reservation in a restaurant in Saint-Savin, and I can't call them. So she dialed them. I spoke to Corinne and said, I'm sorry, we're not going to make it, which means that Corinne can then give the table to someone else, because she turns people away if you've booked a table, and then she loses those two covers, which is not right. So cancelled it, and then he came back at about 20:1, I think, and he has an intern working with him, and I stood and I said to him I'm more comfortable standing, and told him what was going on and what I thought, and he examined me and confirmed that it is that sacral iliac area that is a problem. And I said, I'd like an x-ray so we can see if there's anything skeletal going on. And so he's put me down for an x-ray. I told him that how uncomfortable I am in bed, and that I am taking one codeine before bed just to, give me a few hours respite so that I can sleep for 3 or 4 hours. And he said, well, it won't hurt you to take it, to take more than that. And I thought, I don't want to. I really don't want to. So he's given me a prescription for 2 weeks worth of codeine, paracetamol. So at least I don't have to eke out the box I have. But when we got back yesterday, after he'd examined me and moved my legs and, pushed on my back and done various things, I was uncomfortable. So I took a codeine at about 2:00, and then I took one before bed, and my ankle's already swollen again. My leg's already swollen today, which was one of the problems. So I really am going to just stick to one at night. And actually, the interesting thing is that once because I'd seen him, I feel more relaxed about where I'm going. I know that I'm going to get an x-ray. I've booked an x-ray using DocLib, and I've got an X-ray booked for next Friday, and I don't feel the pain quite so much, because I suppose there's an anxiety wrapped around it, which I'm now making progress with what we're going to do about it and what we're going to look at. I suspect I'm going to need an osteopath. And obviously, I had a really, really bad experience with the more local osteopath who got into a narcissistic rage with me, which was horrible. That was, I don't know, probably 3 years ago, but I felt absolutely bullied and came away from there absolutely shaken and thought, I can't go back to her. Um, so I haven't been back to her. And then I started using an osteopath in Memorion, a guy who claims to be holistic, whose toilet never worked. So that is an issue for me. You know, if I need to go to the loo, I can't walk far enough to find a toilet and hang on because I've got such a weak pelvic floor. So every time I went, I said, "Is your toilet working?" And he went, "No, sorry." And I'm thinking, well, you're not very holistic if you're not providing everything I need in this, health wise. So I stopped going to him. Well, I know that osteopathy has helped this situation for me in the past, and suspect that's the route I'm going to do. But it will be good to have the X-ray to show me, to show what we're up against. I suspect it's not something that is, you can't really cure it, and it probably is the muscles around that area, and I think it's called piriformis. So I have been on to Doc Lib, and was routed elsewhere and found an osteopath who speaks English in Chauvigny, and have just completed a dossier for her, which will go to her, and then and then you tell her all the availability you have for an appointment, and you'll get offered an appointment. And I've said I've got an X-ray on a week Friday, so I don't want an appointment until after that, but I'll be able to go and show an X-ray. So that's where I'm at. So I feel much more comfortable about where I am. And actually this morning I was uncomfortable laying on my back with a pillow between pillow under my legs, and I wasn't, I got uncomfortable. It was early hours this morning, and I just thought, I'm going to turn onto my side. And I turned onto my side, which gives me a chance for a bit more sleep, because I think, well, if I'm going to be uncomfortable, I might as well be uncomfortable on my side. And I feel that I think probably I've been worrying about, if I lay on my side and it hurts like that I'm causing damage. But I actually don't think I am. I don't think I'm damaging it. It's just, it's what it is. And it's inflamed, and I can't take anti-inflammatories. I'm not meant to take anti-inflammatories because I'm not meant to take those with steroids. I had a look on Google and was reading through treatment options, and actually, depending on what it is, it's quite possibly treated with biologics, so that'll be handy. So whilst I was there with him, I got him to provide me with proof that I'd had the pneumonia vaccination, proof that the results of my tuber test, which is the test to check for tuberculosis. So he's written her. Are you going to wind yourself around the tripod? Huh? So he's done that. So my dossier for her, the checklist is complete, because I had the mammogram last week. So that was will you stop it? I know it's attractive because it's a tripod, and so are you, but don't. So yeah, that's complete. So I'm just going to shuffle some papers on that and then put that to one side, because it's been laying around waiting for me to complete it. So that's good. Yeah, it's cold out here. So that's where we're at. And Sue, you said to me on Facebook that, and you thought it would be quick, and I don't remember thinking it would be a quick appointment. I don't remember that, but I'm not going to play the video back just to find out what I said. What? I can't pick you up. My arms aren't long enough because I'm only short. No, I'm not going to say anything about over there. Not going to say anything because I don't want to. But it's still a clusterfuck. And yeah, okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. And that's it. I'm not going to say any more. I think that's it. We're not going anywhere. It's Wednesday. I thought I'd got meat to collect from the farm, but I hadn't ordered any, so that's okay. I cooked a nice dinner, and so we're just going to stay in and in the warm. I'm going to go and play my farming game and stay warm. There we go. There we go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. And all of those other things. Thank you. Bye.